What is going on, guys? William Fletcher here from leveledupcontractor.com, and welcome to another episode of the Leveled Up Contractor Show. And guys, we got a good one for you today because today we're going over how to grow a construction business from $1 million to $10 million. And there's a lot of stuff that really goes into it and a lot of different things that got to happen along the way. The jump from 1 million to 3 million is different from 3 million to 5 million and 5 million to 7 million and 7 million to 10 or 12, 15, 20 and so on. The jumps are different, right? There's a lot of different things that you have to focus on. So that is what this video is all about. So let's start with the stages of growth. So when you're starting out as a construction business owner and you haven't quite hit that $1 million mark, but you're just about to hit it, the things that you can do to really take the burden off you and start being able to expand to that next level is to get rid of the administrative duties. And guys, this is a tough one because you're used to doing it all. When you start out, you're the guy producing the work, you're the guy selling the work, you're the guy making the phone calls, scheduling the appointments, doing all that kind of stuff, sending the invoices, collecting the money, making the bank deposits, right? Well, one of the first things that you have to do is transition some of that administrative duty. So think about the things like answering phone calls, setting appointments, scheduling jobs, ordering materials, invoicing and accounting stuff, and data entry, guys. That is the stuff that you want to first take off your plate when you get to about $1 million, because at that point you can't manage everything. And what will start to happen is you'll start to lose focus on clients, right? And you'll be burdened by this stuff. You'll forget to call people back. You'll forget to go collect that check, all that different stuff. And all that's going to do is hurt growth. It's going to hurt your sales. It's going to hurt your customer relationships, which isn't going to allow you to grow. So that's the first big jump that you got to make. And now the second one is when you go from 1 million to 3 million, right? So you've taken some of that administrative burden off of you, and now what you have to focus on is getting some additional sales support. Now, some of you are sales rock stars. You might be able to take it to 3 million alone, just on your own. And having that administrative support allows you to get there. But for others, this is a good time to start bringing on someone else to start selling along with you. And this has got to be someone that's a go-getter as well, someone that can learn from you, that you can teach them what you're doing to make sales and bring them up, because this is your first step towards building a sales team, which will become really important as you grow even bigger. And then you have the $5 million stage. And this is where I get excited, right? Some of the smaller stuff, I enjoy that. I love helping the smaller companies too, but the $5 million is where it gets exciting for me, because at this point in the game, you have to start leveling up yourself as a manager. And this is a big shift for a lot of construction business owners in the beginning, because they're so used to doing everything, solving all the problems. But when you get the $5 million, there's typically more problems and more things happening in your business than one person can manage. And you got to start to manage other people to handle those problems. So when you get to this point, you got to start bringing on those key leaders, right? At $5 million, you probably want to either promote somebody within to step into a sales management type role, or hire someone that has experience to come into that sales management role to start managing the sales team that you are building. Now, it's also a good idea at this point to handle someone that is strictly focused on the production side of your business, right? Making sure that clients are getting what the sales team is promising. So those are really the key hires you got to have at this point. And then, guys, it comes back to sales, right? You got to level up your sales team and start bringing on salespeople. And we'll talk about recruiting a little bit later because it's a big one, guys. But you got to level up the sales team. And at this point, guys, and this is why I get excited, at this point, you have to start also documenting some of your systems, right? So to get to 5 million, you're probably doing a lot of things in your business. And you may think to yourself, I'm not systemized, we got to figure all this stuff out. I'm just kind of doing things from the hip. But in reality, guys, you didn't get to 5 million without systems. They may not be written down on paper. They may not be 100% followed by everybody 100% of the time. but you don't get the 5 million without some type of system. So at this point, you want to document what we call, when we teach our clients, their master process, right? Or their master system, which is basically the process that happens from the time a lead comes in till you close out that customer, they're paid in full. You got to document that master process. And just by documenting that alone, you've done the majority of the systems work that you need to do. Now, when we get into some of the bigger jumps from the 7 to 10 million and 10 million to 12 million and stuff like that, that's when you have to really get organized and fine-tuned on your systems. But at 5 million, it's more about getting that master system documented and make sure that you have a process to follow. And that's the majority of your systems right there. And guys, the key with it is it won't be pretty, right? You're not fine-tuning it, making 100% the law. At this point, you're just documenting what you're doing so you can start to create a repeatable system as you grow the business. Now, another big one at the 5 million mark, guys, is refining your offers, right? Or what you provide as services. So a lot of times in the beginning stages of business, what got us to 3 million and what got us to 5 million is by taking on every single project that came our way. And that's great, guys. I love it. In the early stages of the game, you got to attack, you got to be hungry, you got to go after it. You maximize every single lead until you get to that point. Now, when you get to 5 million, that's when you want to start refining, because chances are, guys, there's some things that you're really good at. You know, for example, in our restoration business, we were really good at roofing, siding, and gutters. Now, we could really refine that if we wanted to and say, you know, we're really great at roofing, so let's just focus on that. But we refined down to roofing and siding and gutters. We used to take leads for all kinds of different construction projects, and we did them consistently. But guys, over time, what we found was there was a lot of projects we spent way too much time on, right? Because it wasn't our specialty. We didn't do them as good as we did other jobs, so we didn't get referrals or repeat customers from it. So at this point, you want to start narrowing things just a little bit and start refining who you want to be as a company and what services you want to provide your customers. And then the 7 million jump, guys. This one is all about bringing on more key people, bringing on more help. And as always, it starts with sales, guys. You got to get that revenue bump. So you got to bring on some new sales guys, right? At this point, I think it's necessary to have a full-time bookkeeper on staff or a company that you pay that handles your bookkeeping. And I'm not talking about the kind of bookkeeping that most people think about, which is at the end of the year, I send my QuickBooks file over to an accountant and he quickly goes through it and says, hey, this is how much you owe in taxes. What I'm talking about here is somebody that's putting your transactions in daily, making sure they're accurate, going through it every single week, providing you reports so that you can grow the business based off the numbers. And that's a big one, guys. So at this point, you bring on a bookkeeper if you haven't already. And at this point, I like to focus on the service side of the business as well, making sure that our projects are going really smooth, and start to implement project managers to look over all projects in a very thorough and detailed way. You got to make sure you have the budget for it and that you can account for it, but it's another big one that can kind of take your business to the next level, provide a higher level of service, which means greater quality work, more referrals, all that kind of good stuff. And guys, at the $7 million mark, now you start refining your systems, right? We talked about it with, you know, at the beginning, you just want to document what you have, right? Well, at the $7 million mark, if you want to make that stretch to 10 and beyond, now you start refining it. Now you start building detailed SOPs. You start changing your master process to what you want it to be as you continue to grow. Think about it as if you were selling your company and you wanted to hand somebody your business and the operations manual to run your business. You're handing them that and say, hey, go to town, read this book, has everything in it that you need to know. Right? At 7 million, you start to build that, right? So you start to build out the SOPs. You start out to build out the templates, like the material orders, the work orders, the estimating templates, all that kind of stuff, the contract templates, making sure everything is templated. all your different call scripts, your lead setter scripts, your production call scripts, your project manager scripts, your sales scripts, all that kind of stuff. You start documenting it and getting your systems to the next level. And guys, at the $10 million mark, you've made a lot of the change. But at every one of these jumps, guys, different things happen. It's a new level of chaos that you have to understand and control. And at 10 million, I like to see companies bring on somebody that I would consider like an implementer, or their right hand, the person that's the organized person that offsets the owner. In most cases, most owners are big picture thinkers. They're salespeople. They're visionary type people that are very creative, very good at working with people, think very big picture, and they can kind of get lost when it comes to the details. So at $10 million, you really need to start to refine that. Make sure you have somebody that you can count on to keep the business organized and make sure people are following those systems, keeping people accountable. And a lot of people at this point, they bring on a general manager to run the day-to-day operation so they can start focusing on the bigger picture. And guys, at 10 million, if you haven't implemented it already, you want to start implementing the systems that are going to train your people, right? So we talked about documenting your systems, building templates, all that kind of stuff. But at 10 million, or to get to 10 million, you really have to start turning that into a training program, or at least making sure that you're training people on those systems. So hiring and onboarding is so important, guys, especially as you grow. If you really want to grow and grow fast, you got to have those systems, and you got to be able to train people on it and get them up to speed fast, and then hold them accountable to make sure they're following those systems that you trained. And guys, one last tip I want to leave you with is to be willing to invest in a mentor or coach. And I'm not saying that because I'm a coach, because I don't care whether you invest in me or our company or another company or whoever. But guys, look at people that are at the level that you want to get to, or who have been where you're at and went to higher marks, and see what they're doing. Learn from them. Pay them to help you get you to the next level. So that's it for this training, guys. If you want more training like this, make sure you subscribe and visit us over at leveledupcontractor.com. If you want to get on a call with me, talk about how we can help your business, would be glad to. Again, visit us over at leveledupcontractor.com, and I'll see you in the next video.